Yeah. And so
rocking and rolling.
We're good now. Yes. Awesome. We're back. It's been a minute since we've done a show. Like I've been going a million miles an hour trying to get everything done between this, the Fit Fest, all that. So, but we are here with the one. I'm already gonna mess it up. It's Angelica Teixeira.
Teixeira, yeah, you got it,
dude. It's a history of messing up. If it's not as easy as like Smith, count me out. I'm not getting it right. And so, and it's Portuguese, right? Because you're originally
my last name is Portuguese. I'm from Brazil. But yeah, I got the last name from my husband.
Okay.
And he got family in Portugal. So
yeah. And when did you move out to the U.S.?
It was in 2008.
Oh wow. To me, that sounds like 3 years ago. It's crazy how like long it's been since then.
Well, for me, it was a long journey because coming here, not speaking any English, so it was tough at the beginning. So every year count.
And you didn't originally come to Texas, though, right?
No, originally, yes. First city was Austin, Texas.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah, I was here for 9 months, and my husband was already here for 2 years. And then after that, I went to New Jersey, and I stayed there for almost 11 years, and now I'm back.
Now you're back.
Now
you
I'm back.
Staying this time?
Yes, yes. We loved Austin since the first time we came here. We moved to New Jersey because more jobs opportunity over there. Like in 2008 was a crisis here. And it was really hard to find a job. And, for us, like immigrants, it was super tough. Like my husband came for work, but his company wasn't doing so well here, the company that transferred him. So he had to start doing other jobs. And it was like tough for everyone. And we were like, okay, let's try New Jersey. And New Jersey was so much better than here. But our goal was always like, we're going to get back to Austin. Yep. So, yeah.
Well, then even in competing, I mean, Texas alone is blowing up in the bodybuilding world. It's insane how many people compete here. And just even on my platform, it's like everyone's either getting into competing or already doing it. And it's crazy for me to
when
watch.
I moved here, after competing, after doing everything that I did, I was like, oh, Austin's such a small city for bodybuilding. What am I going to do there, you know? But once I got here, I started, like knowing everyone. I, I joined the gym, House of Gains. And then I'm like, whoa, it's a bodybuilding gym. And then I started meeting everyone. And I'm like, oh, it's really growing here. And so it's been good right now.
Yeah, and it's only going to continue to grow. I mean, the sport's getting so popular and people love it. And I'm seeing it just all over the country now and in the world. And they're adding the new classes and stuff like that. Yeah. And so, but you had to take a little break because you are now a mama.
I am.
And so what's that been like?
Yeah, it's been like, like working in fitness my whole life and then having to really take a break and, to be a mom was like, whoa, like what's hard at the beginning to kind of like know that, like, okay, I can't be competing right now, I can't be on top of my physique right now because the body changed so much. And, but it was also like, it was good for me, like a learning experience and the whole pregnancy, like accepting my body, the change and, being comfortable with my physique no matter, how it looked like. And I think it was even good to inspire other women because a lot of women in the fitness industry, they're kind of afraid to become a mom and like, oh my God, I'm going to be done. My body will change forever. And it's not like that. Like, like once you learn what works for you, after you have the baby, you get back on the diet, exercising, and the body gets back to what it looked like before.
Oh, 100%.
How old is the kiddo? Right
She's 6 months now.
6 months now?
6 months,
Okay.
Well, it's funny that you bring that up because a good friend of mine so prior to Texas, I lived in Washington, in Tacoma. And I had a friend, her name's Jillian, and she got pregnant right around the time I think you did. I could be off with that, but I didn't know, like, I'm still oblivious to, like, when I see my friends from other states posting people that I work a lot with here, like yourself. And she followed like your whole journey. Like she used your updates and your social media posts and all that to kind of keep her motivated while she was. And so, because she competes as well. And that was, I hit her up the other day. I was like, hey, I'm going to have Angelica on the show. Like, you have any questions? And so she was saying like, you basically kind of what you were saying, how was it for you from the mental strains or like the hardships of it, like adjusting from the pregnancy or from constantly competing and training to like being limited. You know, did
Yes.
you feel a sense of like limitation as it progressed as well? And
Yeah, I felt that, and for me, it was even like a learning experience, you know, because being a coach too, and I don't coach just competitors, I coach like lifestyle, and now it's easier for me to teach like postpartum moms, you know, so I'm getting a lot of clients because it's different. We know, you know, I've been through it, so it's easier to help other women that been through what I've been through, you know. So even like pregnant woman, postpartum woman, I'm like, this is a learning experience for me, even for my job. So it's been nice.
Yeah,
like,
and I think that adds a lot of just more, you know, essentially, I guess, education and credibility to what you do, because you know you are considered one of the best in the world in competing in weight loss and coaching, and you know, to have that as like something you went through is so big. Because I see a lot of coaches, it's like, how do you know? Like, you've never been through it, and they just want to push, you know, things that look good on paper, and it's so. No, that's.
It's like I have some clients that like want me to coach them for wellness, but I just take bikini for competition, just bikini, because I know what they need, you know, because I've been through it like 39 times. You know, so I've been through everything, every peak week that you can imagine, the ones that were great, the ones that did all wrong, you know, so I know through my experience how to teach them. But for wellness, it's different, you know, like the preparation got to be different, the training got to be different. It's not that I don't know, because I have an idea, of course, you know. I've been to college in Brazil for sports science, so I studied, you know, like exercise and nutrition, everything. So I do know, but I don't have the experience myself. So if I have like so many clients in bikini, why I'm gonna go to something that I don't have the experience, you know?
No, and that totally makes sense, you know, and I can respect that a lot, because you're kind of staying in your lane, you know, focusing on what you have. And so there was, you know, what's funny is when you first told us that you were pregnant, I actually went out and had this made, but I never got to see you.
Yeah, you just sent me a picture.
Yeah, and then I never saw you, because it was like,
it doesn't fit her
I
anymore.
figured it wasn't gonna fit anymore, but I was like,
you know what? I'll keep for the next one.
I was gonna say maybe for number two.
Number two.
Oh, number two with this one.
There you go. That's yours. Yeah, I remember I had that. I've been holding on to that for like a year.
You sent me a picture. It was even before I had her.
Oh yeah, it was way
after
before.
It was
like right when you had announced it, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna go get this made, and my buddy James.
I disappeared, right?
Yeah, well, I think it was still like there was still a lot of like pandemic stuff going on, and you were like, I'm not taking the risk. You won't see me at the gym. Like I'm staying home.
Man, everybody who was pregnant during that time had to just kind of watch out. You know.
It was a second. What do you call it? Lockdown for him.
Yeah, it was the second wave, I think, something like that. You know, those crazy waves.
But it's hard with the baby clothes. So like Josh and I are the age where like all of our friends are beginning to have kiddos, you know, and buying baby stuff like Foy's Fitness merch or Austin Fitness Community merch is like, if you don't get it to them within like 2 or 3 months, it's the wrong size.
Yes.
Babies grow fast.
Yes.
I'm learning
People
this
ask me, I want to give Alyssa clothes. Like, how old is she? I'm like, she's 6 months, but you can do like 9, 12 months.
She's
she's
already
a bodybuilder, baby.
Yeah, I was going to say baby gains.
Baby gains, yeah.
So I was reading this thing because I was like, to be, you know, at least somewhat prepared when any guest comes in. And I was reading that a couple things about you. Prior was you used to do jazz dancing.
Yes, I did for 8 years.
Yeah?
I love dancing.
Yeah, you still dance? Do you still do any of that?
I don't dance a lot, but every opportunity you see me dancing on Instagram, like, you know, like,
the best.
Now dancing's trending, and I'm like, I always did. Like, even before it was trending like that, I'm like, okay, you see me dancing sometimes on Instagram, and of course I dance at home as exercise sometimes, but not professionally, not like I did before, no.
And so when you were dancing back then, how did that transfer? Or I think I read it was like you were so active in that is somehow transferred over to like working out and training and things like that. Like you just love to be active. Yeah,
I think, you know, since I was born, I was always so active, and I always liked like dancing. I wasn't good at any sport though.
Yeah,
I tried, you know, volleyball, like football, everything, like soccer, not good. But dancing was always my thing at school, you know, like always, like every year we had like those shows.
Today's episode is brought to you by ReGen Health and Wellness. The team at ReGen Health and Wellness is devoted to helping patients revitalize, repair, and renew the optimal blueprint of yourself. They provide an individualized and concierge model of healthcare, empowering patients to optimize their health span and overall quality of life. It's said no one can escape father time, but almost everyone can make the conscious decision and commit to living better and healthier lives. It begins with a mindset. They offer both in-clinic and telemedicine consultations. So whether you're due for a routine checkup or struggling to hit your health and fitness goals, go online or give them a call to schedule your appointment today.
You know, that
like a talent show,
yeah,
or
a
something?
talent show, something like that. I was always like number one, and like after I stopped dancing, and then you know, like I started like studying, you know, like sports science, and I knew that I wanted to keep active my whole life. And I remember that I chose that because some people were like, I was always working out, right, in the gym, and I haven't choose what I was gonna do of my life yet. I wanted to be a dentist.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then people were like, oh, you're so active. You're always in the gym. You train. You have such a nice body. But this is going to change when you start working. You're not going to have time. And then I'm like, oh, I don't want that to stop. So I should just work like that, you know. I should be a trainer or work in the gym because I don't want to stop. I don't want to have to like, oh, I can't work out anymore because I have to
work.
go. I have to work, you know. So that's how I found out that that's what I really loved.
Yeah.
And then I stopped dancing. I started like I was already in the gym working out. I started like going to college, and then I started teaching in Brazil. I became a personal trainer, fitness instructor. And then when I moved here, I was like, oh, like all my husband's friends, they were like, oh, you're gonna make more money than Marco. When you move here, you're such a great trainer. We need that here. The woman gonna love you. And I'm like, whoa, okay. So I came all excited when I got here. No English. And I'm like, how I'm gonna have clients and, you know, and teach class if I don't, you know any English. So it was a little tough, you know, that transition. But and then, of course, everything that you want, you achieve. I really wanted to learn English. I started watching TV, talking to people, you know, working at regular jobs. And then I'm like, okay, now I can speak a little bit. And from there, I started learning more and more.
Progressing and progressing. Yeah, I had read, too, that you were, they wouldn't let you get a gym membership.
Oh, yeah, because I was too young and I wanted to join the gym. And in Brazil, I think here you can, right?
Yeah.
You can join the gym when you're like
14,
12, 14. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, growing up back home,
I saw a kid, I think yesterday with his father in the gym. I think he was not even 10 years old. And he was like triceps and like 4 plates. And I'm like, okay, like. That wasn't like that for me.
Yeah, but kids are evolving. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so you went to school you got your degree in Brazil?
In Brazil,
okay.
Yes.
And it was in sports science?
Yeah, sports science.
And then you moved to Austin, and then you went up to Jersey or New York?
So I moved here, and I was here for 9 months, and then I went to New Jersey.
Okay. And so when you were, when was your first show? Like, when did you first, like, compete? Was it here or in Brazil?
No, I was already in New Jersey. So when I arrived here, it was kind of like, it was like being born again.
Okay.
You know, because I knew that I needed to learn English, and kind of like in Brazil, I was studying at home. But when you get here, it's so different. You know, you really figure out that you don't know anything.
Yep.
So everything that you learn in Brazil is kind of like with British accent. So I was like, see you later. And people are like, oh, what? And I'm like, water, please. You know, and people are like, what's she saying? So I had to kind of like, the little that I knew was like nothing.
Like that's
the
English that is influenced is British.
Then you got to incorporate slang, because when I was learning Spanish, you know, there's so many, like, you can learn textbook Spanish or textbooks English, but it has, like, nobody uses it in society. Like, and so whenever I would try to say something to anyone in Spanish, they'd look at me like, what? What is
Why
this
are you
guy
talking
saying?
like a loser?
Yeah, like
It's too formal, right?
Yup.
Too formal.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
almost uncomfortable, you know? They
Yeah.
think you're
Yeah,
being a
they're
little
like-
offended or,
Uh-huh.
standoffish. Yeah.
So once for me, the best way to learn any language is talking to people.
Yeah.
And living the
100%.
language, you know, being there, like trying to learn English in Brazil was super tough. But when I arrived here, it was, of course, it was tough.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like it was like being born again. But and then like just like going out of the house and struggling a little bit. Every day I was learning and learning. And I kind of really like that, you know.
Yeah.
I got like a little addicted to that feeling of learning something every day.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I can relate.
But
100%.
when I arrived here, I was like, okay, to my husband, like, okay, so now what gym I'm gonna work, like how it's gonna be, because I just finished college, you know, and I wanna do what I love. And then he was like, oh, what we gonna do? I'm like, then I went to a gym to just see, and I'm like, oh my God, how I'm gonna speak to these people? Like, this is crazy. I'm
Like
like,
reality
you know
set
what?
in?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
said, stay home. I don't want you to work right now. Just watch TV. Try to learn a little bit. So I was 3 months at home, but then I was going crazy. Because,
yeah.
you know, I'm that type that I work since very young. And I like working. I like being independent, you know. And I was like, no, I don't want to be just home, like watching TV the whole day. I'm going crazy. So I told him, I'm like, I want to like find a regular job, any job that I can do. I'm like, what can I do if I don't speak English? So I found a job at HEB,
Yep.
and I became a beggar. And I'm like, okay. And it was a great job for me. It was like an English school, but I was still making a little bit money.
Yeah.
I
And they
didn't
take
have
care
to
of their
pay to
employees.
learn, you know? Yeah.
HEB does.
Yeah, they're good. They're a good company.
Yeah,
so.
they're very good. They're very good. It was super tough to get the job, though. I had to go through an interview with like around, you know, around 10 to 15 American people trying to get the job, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
I'm like, what? What is that? It was super tough because I had no English, and they made me stand up and speak in front of everyone, introduce myself, and I'm like, hi from Brazil.
Just
my
trying.
God. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love people. I need job. I'm sorry.
I need job.
I will bag
Yeah.
all the groceries.
Yes.
Yep. Curl
And then
everything.
they got me the job. They
Yeah.
said, when you say you love people, that's when you
Yep.
got the job.
What
I'm
they
like,
needed.
okay.
Yeah. Sometimes they're just in, and this is in Jersey, right?
Yeah.
This
No,
is-
no, this was
this
here.
was
HEB's
in
was
in
here.
Texas.
Yeah,
HEB's
in
only
Texas.
in Texas.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
why I
only in
asked that.
Texas. Yeah.
It's they just need somebody who's like gonna do quality work.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah,
And
and as they say, like that's why sometimes I get a little mad when I go to HEB and the beggars like don't even look at you, don't say hi, how are you, or anything, you know, or do the begging like, you know,
Get out of here.
because they really teach you how to do it, and it's very important for them. They tell you gotta say hi, you gotta ask the client how are you, like you gotta ask the client, do you want to help outside, you know, like all these things, and you gotta pay attention to how the client wants, you know, like the shopping to be bagging, you know, like paper or plastic, or if they want the eggs on top, or you know. And I went like my last shopping, the guy was like, and then they put my eggs all the way on the bottom. I'm like,
that's
that's
not
not
how
how
you
I
do it."
learned.
Hey, I can appreciate some good customer service.
Well, it's like
Yes.
you have kids that they're
Yeah.
kids and they didn't have the hardships. They maybe don't need that job,
Yeah.
and their outlook is just different.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah,
And you
they're
think,
just there, like kind of like having
Just
fun,
collecting a
yeah,
check.
just, you
yeah,
know,
paying
yeah.
for gas.
So
Yeah.
so when I guess when you were competing, like at what point did it become kind of serious where you're like, I think this is a full-time career for me.
Yeah.
Who
Like,
introduced you to your first comp? How
Yeah.
did that even start?
My first competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then I moved to New Jersey, and then I was like, okay, here I was speaking more English. I started like being a trainer, doing fitness class, you know, in the gym. So that was my full-time job, you know. So I had so many clients, and I was like, and then I started seeing like on social media, Instagram came out.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
was when it just came out, and I was starting like following bodybuilders, you know, like the woman competing, and I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. I think I can do that. But my goal was to do it just to learn the process and help my clients, you know, like to get in a even better shape. And I'm like, oh, I gotta learn that secret. That's a secret there, you know? So I'm like, okay. So I hired a coach, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do one competition to learn, you know, the process. Then I can help my clients because they all want to look more shredded, of course, leaner. And then I did one competition. I was like, oh, I really like it. And I did so bad. And and everyone said that I was going to win, you know, like everyone, oh, you're going to win. Oh, my God, you're going to win. Yeah. And then I placed like, I don't even know, you know, like some third call out and fourth call out, something like that, because I did the wrong division too, you know. My coach chose figure for me, and I was always so tiny here. You know, I had quads, because in Brazil, we train quads like forever, you know, and I never thought about competing bikini, so I always trained quads, like, you know, to gain the muscle. Yeah. So, okay, my quads were a little too big for bikini, but I was never figure here. Yeah. So when I tried to, you know, to pose and to open my legs, I was like, I can't. And my coach was online. He just saw me the day of the competition. He's like, okay, so let's practice posing. Like, okay, put your legs out. And I'm like, do it. I'm like, I'm trying, you know. So it was terrible. And I did so bad. Like, I placed like, I don't even know, like 16. After 16, everyone's 16, you know. So I was like, oh, now I want to win. So my goal was just to do one. But I did so bad. I'm like, oh, now I want to win. Everyone said that I was going to win. Now I want to win. So I did like 2 more shows as figure. My third show, I got 3rd place. It was a little better. It was a smaller show. And then my 3rd show, I did figure and bikini. So that's when I'm like, oh, wow, I did bikini and I placed 2nd on both. And then I was like, my God, I really love this. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, you know, bikini. Yeah. And I was like, because I could show, like coming from a background of dancing, bikini is like you can show a little more your personality. You can flow better on stage with your posing. Yeah, you can kind of like move,
I was going to ask, like, did the dancing probably helped with your solo routine?
The dancing always helped so much me on stage, because I'm used to being on stage, dancing and performing and kind of like doing the face, because posing is also like you see a lot of bikini girls posing, they don't really do the face and the expressions, you know, and this is what makes you stand out. So with me, with dancing, we always had to work on the expressions, you know. Like, we could not be singing. We have to smile and sometimes kind of really go with the flow of the dancing, you know. So I had those expressions, and the judges love it, you know. And I was so comfortable on stage, because being, you know, on stage dancing, like for 8 years, every year we're on stage, like for the whole city. And I was like, oh my God, I really love it. I missed the stage. So, you know, it was really nice. So I discovered bikini, and I was like, oh. Now I'm hooked. Now I don't want to stop it. Like, now I want to win 1st place, and then I won 1st place, and I'm like, oh, there's an overall to win. Then I start like learning about the sport, because I got in the sport like not knowing anything. So one advice for people, you know, like listening right now, watching, like research, you know? Do you studying before you start? Go to shows, watch, like see what division really fits into your physique, and learn about the sport before you start. Because I went like just with my you know, like having no idea of anything. I was there like, oh, what I'm gonna do? Oh, figure. Oh, what is that? You know, when I saw the figure comparison, I saw the bikini comparison, and I'm like, I told my coach, oh, those are the girls that I'm competing against.
Today's episode is brought to you by Avatar Nutrition. It is always a treat to show some love to our sponsor, Avatar Nutrition. Avatar is actually owned by my friend Mark, who is a lifting buddy of mine from the gym. What I didn't realize at the time is that his app has been used by close to 200,000 people, and they've used it to lose over 2.5 million pounds of pure body fat. What's really special about Avatar is that it's a complete service delivered through a super easy-to-use app. See, Avatar is the OG in the macros game and created a process that makes counting macros both fun and simple to stick to long-term. You've got unlimited support from their community and experts on staff, and they are in the business of giving their clients results that last. Try it free on the App Store or Google Play Store for 2 weeks, and if you love it as much as I do, it's just $9.99 a month after that, or $97.99 for the annual rate if you want even more of a discount. If you're a coach, trainer, or you own any kind of business and want to use Avatar to facilitate game-changing nutrition coverage for your people, Avatar is a program for groups too. Just contact them through their website to learn more at www.avatarnutrition.com.
Like, oh, no, those are the
It's
girls.
the Amazons over
Yeah,
there.
I'm like, those are, I'm like, oh my God, they
Yeah.
are so much bigger than me, you
Yep.
know? So if I knew, I would tell him like before, like, hey, you know, I see myself and I look more like bikini than figure, you know? So that's one advice. Like, I wish I done that, and I know I would have been more successful before. But I don't regret it because every struggle, it just made me learn and become stronger, you know?
It has a purpose.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So when I start with bikini, after that show that I crossed over, I did figure and bikini. I was like, oh, no more figure. So I started like bikini, and then I was like, okay, I want to win the overall. And then I don't know if you ever listened to my story that I could not do nationals. So I had to keep competing and winning overalls.
Couldn't you do nationals?
I just had a green card. I wasn't a citizen. So I could not do nationals. Even though I was winning every local show, I was qualified for nationals like many times. I could never go to nationals.
So NPC, you have to have like a state ID or something, and you can't buy.
Right now, I think you can't do nationals if you have a green card. Yeah, because it's national, like you're gonna represent US, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta be an American citizen, you know.
I guess,
So at that time, now they open to green card holders because they're gonna get the citizenship, you know, in a few years. But for me, I just got my green card, so it was 5 years with a green card to be able to apply for my citizenship. Yeah.
So did you have to wait that long, like before you could even qualify for Olympia and things like that?
No, so I didn't want to wait to get my pro card. So what I did, I sent a letter to the NPC, and I was like, how I'm gonna become a pro, because I'm really serious about it, and I really want to become a pro and compete in a professional level. And they were like, oh, like you have to go through the Brazilian Federation, so you have to win many overalls here, so you can prove, you know, the Brazilian Federation that you can represent them, you know, here, live in US. And then I was like, okay, so I went for the overalls. I won 6 overalls. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I did so many shows. I won 6 overalls.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's when I got my pro card, all the judges knew me already. They're like, oh, that's the girl that never gives up.
Yeah.
That comes Angelica Teixeira. You know, they knew me. At least like New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh. I was always competing in New York, you know, all those shows. So they all knew me. And when I came, and all the girls were already mad, like, what are you doing here again?
Damn it. Like everyone's competing for second.
You just won last week. You won the
all the
overall.
shows.
What are you doing here again? You got to go to nationals. Let us win a little bit. I'm like...
Be better.
I'm not, because I can do nationals, so I have to keep showing up and winning until they give me my pro card. So they said Brazil was gonna do it, but Brazil was so hard at that time. You know, now we split it, the IFBB Elite and the IFBB Pro League, so it's different in Brazil now. But at that time, they denied my pro card. They said, I sent them an email. They said, okay, if you win like 6 overalls, all right, we'll give you your pro card. Then I won, and then I sent to the NPC, and like, okay, send an email to the Brazilian Federation. They said, oh, okay, now you won 6 overalls, so you got to come to Brazil and compete here at least once, so we can tell that you're a Brazilian athlete.
Brazil or the U.S.? You got to come to the U.S. to
No,
win?
I was living in U.S.
Okay,
so
that's
the
right.
Brazilian Federation said that I needed to go to Brazil and compete there.
Yeah.
And then they invited
After
me.
you'd won the 6?
After I won the 6. First, they say that I just
Yeah.
need, you know, we just need you to win those overalls, and that's it. So after, I think they said, oh, it's kind of impossible, you know.
Dude, that's like...
But I'm like,
making it so-
I'm not giving up,
Yeah.
you know.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
They made it hard for you.
They made it really hard for
Yeah.
me. So I won those overalls, and then they like, oh, you did it. Oh, wow, okay. So now you need to come to Brazil and compete here. You don't need to win. You just need to, we got to say that you compete in Brazil so you can represent Brazil. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. All right. Like, come compete at the Arnold Brazil. And whatever you place doesn't matter, you know, and then we're going to give you the pro card. So I went, and I got like 3rd place. I placed top 3. And then I came like, oh, great. I even placed, you know, nobody knew me. It was like a whole different, you know, area for me. And I'm like, okay, still plays so good. I came back, I sent the letter. All right, so now how's the process for the pro card? Oh, we were talking here, and I'm sorry, but we got to deny your pro card because you can come to Brazil and go back. You can do as every Brazilian, you know. So if you want your pro card, you have to start over. You have to do a local show and then qualify for the state, and then from the state you qualify for the national, and then from the national you gotta go to the worlds, and if you win the overall at worlds, we're gonna give you your pro card. I'm like, I didn't even answer. I just translated and sent to Jim Manuel, the NPC, because I was talking to President Jim Manuel already, and I translated. I'm like, President Jim Manuel, I tried everything. You know. The NPC have been helping me so much, and I love competing. This is really what I love, and I want to do professionally, but it seems like it's going to be impossible because Brazil, I did everything that they asked for, and now they denied. So he just responded like, this is not happening. No, don't worry. Just stay still. Like, just wait. And I'm like, okay, I'll wait. So like 2 weeks went by, and I'm like, oh, nothing's going to happen because, well, you know, what's going to happen? And then he just sent me like an email with like, oh, fill it out this pro card application. And I'm like, oh my God, maybe, you know, he spoke to the Brazilian people and they decide to give me my pro card. But no, Brazil still denied. President Emmanuel said, you deserve your pro card. You're going to represent U.S. even though you're not American citizen yet. Mm-hmm. So that's when things started to change. And they're like, why we don't let like the green card holders, you know, do nationals, because they're going to be an American citizen, you know, in a few years. So, and then that's why all the Brazilians always got mad when I came like on the Olympia stage, representing USA, from USA, Angelica Teixeira. They're like, why they say USA? She's Brazilian. But no, Brazil denied my pro card, so I had to represent US, you know.
I didn't want to interrupt, but for the people who are fans of both and they know better, at this time, was it IFBB Elite then? In Brazil?
No, at that time, no. At that time was all IFBB Pro League.
Okay, so they were also in Europe and, you know, places like Brazil.
Yeah, Europe, Brazil, South America, here. It was all just one thing. But because it was so unfair in Brazil, Europe, everywhere, you know, but here. Because here we have NPC. We didn't have NPC in Brazil or any other country, you know. It was just IFBB Pro League. But so with the NPC here, was always a little easier to get the pro card, you know, a little more achievable. In Brazil was impossible. Was like a bikini pro, just one a year. And here was like so many every year. So the sport was growing here. And in Brazil was like always getting smaller and smaller because it was almost impossible in a lot of politics.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of politics. So it was a lot of things, you know, behind the scenes that it was dirty. So President Emmanuel got super mad, and he was the one that decided to split. Like, hey, we don't want to go that way anymore. It's not fair with the athletes, you know. They're doing everything they can to become pros in Brazil, and you just don't let them, you know. There was stories of people paying them, you know, to get the pro card. So whoever pays gets the pro card, you know, things like that.
I hate that stuff.
Yes. So he was like, you know what? We're going to have like the IFBB Pro League separated from you guys. So that's when they created the IFBB Elite. Mm-hmm. And now it's like the IFBB Pro League is so much bigger in Brazil. There's so many pros now, and the elite is like very, very small because it's so unfair, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty insane. Like, it's, you know, I just don't see how they gave you the runaround. They expect you to do that. So that's props to Jim for hooking you up and knowing what's right, because like, I never knew that. I never knew that story. Did you ever know that, Mar? Did you know that?
What's that?
Did you know that story about her?
No, I had no idea that you literally competed like 15 times to get a...
Yes, no, it was
qualified.
20 times.
20 times.
I did 20 shows to get my pro card.
That's insane.
That's
now they're handing out pro cards to like the top 2 if you're a good enough show.
It's easy.
You got a lot of Instagram followers.
I was like going to nationals and watching the girls that I beat. Every girl that I beat at the local shows, you know, at the Atlantic State, bigger shows in New York. I beat all those girls. I won the overall, and then I go to nationals. I can't be there, but I'm watching, and those girls that I beat, they're all getting the pro card, and I'm like, I can't become a pro. You know, it was tough.
Today's episode is brought to you by CBD Online Xpress. CBD Online Xpress is a fresh, up-and-coming CBD company that strives to offer the highest quality products at an affordable price to help you in your everyday life. They offer a variety of products such as tinctures, edibles, flour, and even their new recreational line, Oxed Up. They also have plans to introduce water and an energy drink later this year. Go to CBDOnlineXpress.com and get your products today.
Earned it, but you
Yeah.
don't have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you earned
At the
that.
time, because I know the Brazilian bodybuilding culture is like huge now.
Yes.
Was it then?
It wasn't that big then.
It wasn't as big.
Brazil was always big into bodybuilding, but because it was so hard, to achieve anything in bodybuilding in Brazil, people was just like, they had that passion, but they were like, it's not worth it. But now after that change, after that split, they were like, oh my God, now it's an opportunity, to really, like, a chance to have success, competing. Because we're going to get the pro card. If we deserve it, we're going to get it. And then we can travel and compete in US and, and actually qualify for the Olympia, So, after that, Brazil was like a boom in bodybuilding.
And so after you finally got your pro card, did you just go straight for Olympia?
Yeah, no, after I got my pro card, I was like, oh my God, now I got my pro card. I didn't rest. I was like, I'm doing the next pro show that is there available. So I went to Tampa Pro.
Yep.
And then I placed fourth at the Tampa Pro for my pro debut. And I'm like, oh, this is really good. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing something right here. And then I went to Atlanta for the Coastal USA, placed second. And then I'm like, oh my God, there's no more shows. And then I found out that was the first year of a show in Naples. It's the Naples
Florida,
Pro.
yeah.
I think they just had that year and then the following year, and they don't have it anymore. And then I went there and I won.
Yep.
And it was great. It was like actually the pro show that I won, that I had the biggest prize. I won a Rolex. Yeah, I won $3,000 and they gave me something else. Rolex at 3,000 usually was 2,000. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
But I got a Rolex, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like,
Maybe a couple sponsors.
Yeah.
You win a show.
It was
There you
like, because I think it was the first year and they really wanted all the athletes to go compete. So they got like a big prize.
Wow.
And then I qualified for the Olympia. But when I got there, I placed very bad. And I always stopped competing. My first Olympia, I placed second to last.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Second to last. It was like, it was kind of like, that's why I say it was worth it, because you got to go through everything to be able to be a good champion, It's not about just winning. You got to go through staying there, for less call out. Like, what is there, you got to feel it, You cannot just watch a show and like, oh, they had the less call out. Oh, it must feel so bad. Like, you got to go through it, and feel it, how it is to be there, like,
It'll make
for
or
less
break
call
you.
out.
Yeah.
They call everyone, and you're there like, oh.
And you worked
I think
just
they
as
forgot
hard
about
for
me.
Yeah.
16 weeks as everybody else did,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the journey she had to go on just to get there, and then just to get
and because I was on that journey of winning overalls, and everyone already knew me, I was always placing first, or winning overalls. So I wasn't used to being on last call out, So my first Olymp, and then my first pro shows, I did well. I always first call out, like since the first one. And then for my Olympia, it was like I was not even there, they didn't see me. That's something wrong, like they didn't see me. What's going on? So I was there for last call out, and then they called me, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad. So I was like asking myself, should I really do this? Is this for me? Because wow, at the Olympia, I didn't think that I was gonna take top 5 at my first Olympia, but at least top 15. That's what I thought. I'm like, oh, top 15. But last call out, I was like, maybe it's time to build a family or something, you know. I was ready to kind of like take it back. Oh, like, okay, my goal was to get my pro card, and I got it. Maybe I should take a stop here, a break, and build my family. And then if I want to go back, I go back. So, and then my husband's like, yeah, let's do this. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to send a letter of consideration to Arnold for the Arnold 2016. Like, if I'm invited, it's because I'm supposed to keep going. If not, I'm going to stop and, like have kids. And then I'll go back competing just for fun. And then I was like, oh, they're never going to invite me because, like, who am I in the pro? Like, nobody knows me. And then I got invited. I was already in off season. I didn't know how they were going to tell me that I was invited. I thought, like, I sent an email and a letter of consideration. Then they're going to, like, in a few days, get back to me. But they never did. And I'm like, oh, no answer. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm not invited. Otherwise, they would like consider my email and or at least reply something. Okay, we got your email. We're gonna get you an answer in a month. No, nothing. I'm like, okay, so let's enjoy. I was off season, fluff season. In my worst shape ever, like enjoying because I was always competing on the, the rush of competing all the time to get those pro cards, like 20 competitions back to back. So I was like, okay, so now I'll sit back and relax and live life. So I was like fluffy. And then my phone started like I was in the gym, with my clients. And then I'm like, what's going on? My phone, beep, 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 message. And then all the other bikini pros like, congratulations, you got invited for the Arnold. I'm like, how do you know? What happened? Like, I looked my email, like, I didn't receive any mail. Oh, no, the list came out. And I'm like, oh, list? Like, yeah, go check it out. Like on IFBB Pro League, Instagram and website, it's there. And I'm like, oh, my God, I didn't even know that a list was going to come out. I'm like, and then I'm like, I'm invited. I'm like, what do I do now? It was almost Christmas. Yeah, surprise. Like, I think I had less than 12 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gosh.
That's why people, they don't know if they're going to be invited. When you
Yeah.
send a letter of consideration, you kind of start prepping. And then if they invite you, you kind of like already on your way there, on your prep. But I didn't know. And I thought, like, they're not going to invite me. I was off season, really. And I was like, oh, how I'm going to prep for the Arnold now? I have less than 12 weeks. And then my husband like, it's the Arnold now. You got to do it. And I'm like, okay, so let's do it. So I start prepping. I got all the feedback from the Olympia. I changed everything. I changed my suit. I changed my makeup, my hair, my physique, everything. I work on everything. And then I got 4th place at the Arnold.
Mm-hmm. Which is, that's really good. Yeah.
Oh, I broke that top 5 that was always winning, because everyone always says it's so hard to break that top 5, on the main shows. And I broke it. And I was like, I won over girls that were top 5 at the Olympia, my last Olympia. And I'm like, oh, my God, what just happened, So after that show, I won the Pittsburgh Pro, the Salt Lake City first, and then the Pittsburgh Pro, the New York Pro. And then I came for the Olympia and got 2nd place. And I was like, from second to last to 2nd place, I'm like, I'm very happy. And then the following year, I won the Arnold. I won the Arnold Australia, and then I won the Olympia and the Asia Grand Prix. And then I repeated everything on the next year, like twice. So, yeah. So it was like, thank God I didn't give up.
Yeah.
How was
I'm glad
that?
you didn't just quit.
Yeah, thank God I didn't quit. That's why I tell people, like, I almost quit, and I put, like, on Arnold's hand.
Yeah.
I always thank Arnold, for inviting me.
Today's episode is brought to you by Hotworx. I want to let you guys know about an incredible new craze going on in the Austin fitness community. It's called Hotworx. Hotworx is a virtually instructed exercise program created for users to experience the many benefits of infrared heat absorption while completing a 30-minute isometric workout or a 15-minute high-intensity interval training session. As the infrared heat penetrates your body, causing you to sweat, the isometric postures further accelerate detoxification by physically removing the toxins from your organs through muscle contraction. Hotworx is virtually instructed, has 24/7 access, and also offers easy-to-use app-based scheduling so you never have to miss a class again. Hotworx has 2 locations to serve, located at the intersection of Anderson Mill Road and FM 620 in the HEB Plus Shopping Center, and also another location in San Marcos. So stop in, tell them Austin Fitness Community sent you, and get a special free session on us, and check out Hotworx today.
Like, like I could have quit if they didn't invite me, and you see like all this potential, everything that I achieved, that was, wasn't going to be there if I had quit. So if you think about quitting, hold a little more, try a little harder, really try more. Don't quit so easy. I was going to quit easy. It was, like,
it's easier to
one
quit.
Olympia, I didn't do well. I'm going to quit. Too easy,
A couple years later, you're winning the whole thing.
Like next year, 2nd place.
Yeah.
Imagine if I quit. So, yeah.
So what was that like then when you won the first one? Was it just like...
It was like you're on the top of the world. It's like crazy, like so many years of hard work. And then because when I started, my goal was never to get there. But as you grow in the sport, your goals always get bigger, right? So it was like after I became a pro, my goal, of course, was to be at the Olympia and then to win the Olympia. And then to see myself there, like number one in the world in what I do, like coming from Brazil, not speaking English, and, you know, like not even knowing if I was going to succeed in this country doing anything. And then I'm the best in the world in, you know, in what I do, and knowing like people from all around the world was like reaching out to me and like invites for seminars and fitness expos, like in other countries. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, I'm living the dream.
Yeah.
It was like really living the dream.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Mm-hmm.
I think, and especially like for any of like the meatheads that are listening that don't know like what bikini competitors go through, it's one of the hardest divisions just because like everything has to be so perfect. If you're too lean in one place and there's too much fat in another place, or there's too much muscle in one place and there's and the shoulders are too big but the quads aren't big, and the yada this, yada
everything
that.
gotta be symmetrical.
Yeah.
And lean but not shredded.
Yeah.
Still full. So you gotta have those curves, but not too much. So it's always like, you know, like
you get your feedback panels as a bikini competitor, and it's always like a list of things. You know?
yeah, a list of things. Like it's so hard. Like bikini is really tough because there's always like you know, and it's tough because it's also everything counts. Your overall package, you know, like the beauty, the hair, the makeup, the suit. So it's hard, you know, for you to go to a show knowing like, I know I'm the best. You can never tell that, you know? Yeah. You're always like, okay, I know my physique is like, I'm wetty, but I don't know how the other girl's gonna look like, you know? Because it's, when they put like one in like the side of each other, the ones that they stand out more with the whole package, you know, with the hair, with the beauty, with the smile, with the posing, that's the one they're gonna win. Not just like sometimes, bikini is not just the best physique. It's the best overall look, you know, and the best presentation, you know, you all count.
That's what I've learned a lot about the sport just in the past couple of years, because I've talked about it a dozen times on the show. Like, I don't compete. I'm at all these shows, but I don't know what's going on.
All the shows.
It's because I have to go. Like, I have to go network. And like, for people listening, Marlon competes and coaches, so that's why he knows all this stuff. But yeah, it is insane to see the amount of prep that people go through, the work, and then when they're on stage, you know, to prep, I can only imagine, is so extremely mentally challenging and physically challenging, and then to go on stage and, you know, you have to like be in front of all those people and do that. It's insane. Yeah, being judged
is really tough, you know.
And
like, I think when I don't want to cut you, but
you
know, like I was judged for so many years, like, you know, like being judged on stage, and then after you become successful, like you Ms Olympia, you're being judged all the time. Like,
probably gets worse.
Like during your off season, you're being judged. Oh, look how she looks. Oh, she's getting fluffy. Oh my God, I think she's having too much fun. You know, like, so this is tough for your mind. Like, really, if you want to be successful at competing, you got to learn how really don't care about what people think about you, or, you know, because they will always have an opinion, you know?
I think that it could almost be argued that women in like bikini figure, they probably have a lot more pressure on them than the men that compete.
Yeah.
Because like what I watch with men is like, you know, yeah, they have to pose, they have to bring a certain you know, presence to the stage, but it's nothing like what the women have to go through. Like, it's the makeup, the suits, the hair, all that. Guys just get
the heels.
Yeah, heels. Yeah, which is insane to me.
You're hungry and you're weak and you're like in heels, and
I remember being
so good.
backstage watching people buckle. It was like watching like when you put like socks on a dog and they're like,
exactly, yes.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh man. So yeah, they have way more works, and so for you to kind of overcome all that stuff was it's pretty inspiring. You know, I know everyone, I feel like, is going through a tough week this week. I've talked to so many people and everyone's struggling, so maybe this is what they need.
Today was a tough day for me.
Yeah,
Alisa didn't sleep. She was crying, you know, like she was waking up during the night, like, went to the pacifier, and I'm like, what's going on today? Like, she's being so good. And then I woke up, went to do my coffee, like coffee everywhere in the house. I'm like, what happened? I'm like, it's been a bad day today, but now you're saying it's a bad week.
Well,
like, I hope nothing else
What
happens.
is today, Wednesday? Yeah, I've been seeing everyone just like, is anyone else having like the worst week this week? And I'm like, yeah, kind of.
I'm doing really well, so y'all need to stay.
Marlon's breaking
So
your
you
friends
stay
over
on
there.
that lane,
Y'all stay over
You
there.
stay
Don't even listen to what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be like, oh, something bad's about to happen.
But no, it's kind of like bridging on what you said though. It's you just got to keep pushing and going through it. It's like it is easy to quit, and but it's so much better though when you don't.
Yeah, and then it's better because you have a story to tell. If it was so easy, because I see some, like I always tell everyone, like there's some competitors that they are very lucky. They'll do one local show, one win the overall, and then they go, I qualified for nationals, go to nationals, win the nationals, got the pro card. And then maybe they'll do well at the pro or not. Sometimes most of the time they will not do well because they don't have the experience, because when they get there, they don't feel that they belong. You know what I mean? So I think it's better when you struggle a little bit to get it, So I always tell everyone that I see they struggling, almost giving up, competing. I see so many, like in bikini right now, it's so hard because it's a lot of competition. It's so
Big
many
division.
girls, right? It's
So
a tough
many.
division. Yeah, it's so many
Some of
girls
those shows.
competing. Yeah, because it's a more achievable division.
Yeah.
So the girls looking like, I want to look like that. It's not like they don't need to get too big. They don't need to do crazy things. It's just like working out, dieting. That's it. If they want to just do that, they're able to compete. So it's growing so much, the division, but it's tough. It's tough to get the pro card. So I see so many girls almost giving up. And I tell them like, hey, look my story.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that it wasn't easy for me, because today I have a story to tell.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if it was easy. I was going to get here in this podcast today. I have nothing to talk about. Like, what did you do? I did one local show, one national. I got my pro card, and then I got qualified for the Olympia, won the Olympia.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, oh, good story.
Yeah. You're like, okay, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Like, it was 10
And on
minutes
that
podcast. So it's good to struggle a little bit, and you have a story to tell, and you kind of like, you really like put in your mind, do I really love it? Do I really want it? And then you're able to answer to yourself like, okay, I really want it, so I'll fight for it.
Well, and you appreciate it more, and you have no regrets. Because like I went through something similar. I won't go into it all, but to play college football, I had to go through all these trials, and then when I played, and my final game was a bowl game, I had the most fun. I remember taking the time to appreciate the bus ride, hanging out with my teammates. I remember taking a minute on the field to really like soak it in, because I just reflected on everything that I had put into it. And then I was content when it was over. Like I didn't have a regret. I didn't feel like I left anything, and I never even have those conversations where I'm like, oh, maybe I should go back, or, I could have done this or that. It's like, no, what I did was a reflection of the work I put in, and I'm happy with it. And so do you have any plans to continue competing now?
Yeah, it's funny that you said about you going back, right? When you look back and you're like, oh, I did everything, you have no regrets, no. Like sometimes I'm like, I think that one day I'll go back, But right now I think like I really achieved everything that I wanted, I won the Olympia twice, I won the Arnold Classic in Ohio twice, in Australia twice, competed in Asia and won twice, and I won like 14 professional titles. I won the New York Pro that I always wanted to win, the Pittsburgh Pro, and all these other pro shows, and I'm like, why? So I'm at other stage of my life that I'm kind of like, I love so much the sport that I want to still be involved. Yeah. So that's why I'm coaching, like girls. I don't take too many clients because I do everything myself. But I like to be really involved with them, in the preparation and posing. So I keep involved, and I put my passion through them now, and I like them to succeed and see the success. Like they winning, I'm winning,
Today's episode is brought to you by Line 1 Nutrition. Since their inception 13 years ago, Line 1 Nutrition has steadily grown into one of the most trusted supplement companies in the world, consistently formulating groundbreaking muscle-building supplements enjoyed throughout the USA and at military bases around the world. Excellent customer service is a staple of Line 1 Nutrition and is a big reason they've maintained a dedicated customer base with clients who reorder time and again. Line 1 Nutrition's products aren't the garden variety proteins and pre-workouts found on the shelf. They've spent years developing a line custom engineered to exceed normal standards and meet every need, from mind-blowing pre-workouts to incredible joint support with CBD and even green energy Malaysian kratom, which provides fantastic stress-reducing, anti-inflammatory properties that benefit athletes of any kind. But where Line 1 has really made their mark is with their lean muscle-building supplements. No other company can match Line 1's unique, potent, proven effective muscle builders. The bottom line is, if you're serious about taking your physique to the next level, visit www.line1nutrition.com today and use code AFC15 to save 15% off your entire order.
But I think after I finish building my family, because I'm building my family now. Yeah, it's not easy, And then maybe I'll go back just to kind of like challenge myself. It's gonna be different, because then the goal of being an Olympia champion is not gonna be there anymore, And but I'll go back just to kind of like challenge myself, get back in shape, and see that I can do it.
Just
after
for like
having
the fun
kids
of it.
and even to inspire, in other level, because I have inspired so many people in one level. But doing that, I'm inspiring other level, maybe moms that want to get back in shape, and I'll show them like, hey, you can not even just get back in shape, but you can also go on stage and compete, So like, I kind of was like, I don't know if one day I'll be able to, but after, I had Alyssa, and then I start training again with balance, no strict diet or anything. I saw my body going back and kind of like looking, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of like, if I get on a serious diet, I think I can do the Olympia this year, So I'm like, oh, you know what? If I decide that I want to go back, I think it's not going to be that hard like I thought when I first got pregnant. I'm like, oh, now I got pregnant. I don't think I'll ever be able, to go back. But after I had her, my body postpartum kind of like got back in shape. I'm like, okay, I think I can do it,
You're kind of like the Kurt
but
Warner.
let's see.
Bodybuilding.
You know who Kurt Warner is?
Huh?
Said you're kind of like the Kurt Warner of bodybuilding. Kurt Warner was
No.
He was a football player. He was a quarterback, and he had like this. He actually just had a movie made on him. But he went through.
It.
You should. I'll send it to you. He actually, the guy that plays him lives out in like out somewhere in Austin.
Oh, nice.
His name's Zachary Levi. But yeah, Kurt Warner was like a guy that went to like a really small college, and then he went got a free agency, which is like basically he was like a bench warmer and then he got cut after like one day, and then he was grocery store. He was bagging groceries, and he said his lowest point was his truck broke down in a winter storm, and his family was like freezing in there, and he had to run like 4 miles to go get gas because the truck had run out of gas. And then he eventually got signed to a team, and then his first year there, the starter got hurt, so he got to be the starter, and then he won the Super Bowl.
Wow.
And then was like an MVP, and then after a while, his career kind of digressed, and then out of nowhere, he had another comeback when he was older, and he went to the Super Bowl again. And he didn't win, but it was a crazy game.
Yeah.
And but I mean, dude,
I'm sure if I come back, I'll just come back if I'm able to really show a good package, Like, I'm not saying that my goal be like to win, like the Olympia, and but being proud, like, okay, I had kids, and look how I look now, not just going back on stage just like, oh, I don't look good, but I'm back on stage, Well, like if I'm able to bring a good package, I'll do it,
And you also got into the promotion side of things as well, right?
Yes.
With the is it Battle Up?
Yeah, Better Up production.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was part of the show last year, and then this year, because with Alyssa, things was like at the beginning. I told you, like when you invite me to come, I'm like, things are a little tough right now.
Give me a while.
I'm getting used to being a mom. Yeah, so this year I'm not part of the production, but I'm getting to like getting my own show.
Yep.
But it's just not gonna happen next year, but the following year, you know. But I'll have the Angelica Teixeira show.
Hey, that'll be a good one.
Let us know. I'll line some bodies up. We'll
Yeah.
get you some
I'll help you.
Yes,
I'll help.
yes. Oh yeah.
I've
I've
done it before.
You. Yeah.
Yeah, those shows.
Yeah,
they
everyone
can-
wait for the Angelica Teixeira Classic.
Yep. No one competes until 2024.
Yeah, no one
just
competes.
take your time.
Just hold it.
Hold
yeah.
it. Get your package right.
Yeah,
and
bring
we'll see
the
you
best
there.
package.
Yeah, right. And then you also started. You have your own apparel line as well, right? And
Yes,
what's that
I do
called?
have my own apparel line that, all made in Brazil. So it's the Brazilian fabric that is special.
Yeah.
It is good, And I have it here. So, yeah, I'll leave the website when
Well, what's it called?
AT Fitwear. AT.
Okay.
Angelica Teixeira.
Oh, okay.
AT.
Yeah.
ATfitwear.com if you want to check out.
And how'd you get into
there.
that?
How I got my sister was already a designer in Brazil, so she already had like her line, and then I decided like, okay, now I'm gonna have my line. So she's the one that designs for me and takes care of all the production and then send it to me here.
Boom. That's how you do
Yeah.
it.
You got like
Teamwork,
somebody there.
family work.
Yeah, like the samples are easier because you have someone to look after them and the whole nine.
She does the hard work in Brazil. I just like smile and wear and tag and
Put it
that's
on
it.
and-
Yeah, put it on and like, oh, buy it,
Then
yeah,
you're
but
good.
she does the hard part.
Yeah, it's apparel is not like I have like shirts and stuff, but I do
It's
not.
not easy. Like she draws, like
Oh,
the
wow.
styles. Yeah, like this is the style that we want. So she sent it to me, like for approval, and I'm like, oh, I love it. She's amazing at what she does. Yeah. And then she's the one that do everything, bring it to the company, to make, and then she tries like, oh, it's not right. You gotta do it a little more like that, and then it comes perfect.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I know you're kind of on a time crunch today. You got your stuff, and we're kind of coming up on the end. So where can people find you at? Like, what's the best way if they want to follow your story or just kind of stay up to date with you? Do you, what is it? It's like Instagram, TikTok, things like that?
Yeah, no, I don't do TikTok. It's a little too much for me.
There's just so many now.
All three of us in here.
It's
Yeah.
too many. Yeah.
I just can't.
We're
It's,
Instagram folk.
yeah.
Yeah,
I-
like Instagram has all my attention. Like I have
Yeah.
Facebook, but I'm not even on Facebook anymore.
Nobody
to be
uses
honest,
Facebook.
yeah, nobody uses. We have it. We send everything like
Yeah.
automatic. Like straight through Facebook when you post on
Yeah.
Instagram, right?
Hits
right.
yep.
Like I'm a ghost there. Like my stuff is there, but I'm not there.
Yep.
Yeah. But Instagram for sure, Angelica HT, and that's it.
Really? And you don't do like any online coaching?
I do. I do online coaching, but I like people to email me first so I can see the pictures and tell them if they need longer improvement season. I don't like them to go there and buy the package.
Yeah.
So if they want, they can email me at Angelica Teixeira Coaching
Okay. Yeah.
at gmail.com.
Perfect.
And you probably have a link in your bio.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
Yes, I do.
I'll put
I
all the
do.
links and everything.
Yeah, I have
when
the
we put
link
this
for
up.
the website, but then they can send me an email there.
Yeah. I can put that up there. Well, that was I'm so happy you came. I know we've talked about this
thank you
forever.
for
It's
having
very
me. Yes,
inspiring.
yes.
I never knew that about you out of all the years that I've known you now.
Yeah, I'm like,
Uh,
I don't think they know that.
No,
so,
well,
yeah, I'll bring it up.
I was talking to Ashley just recently at the last show, Ashley Jones. And
Okay,
I told
yes.
her you were coming on. She's like, oh, she has a great story. Like, you're going to love it. And I was like, what? And
Like,
so,
yeah, great story. She won the Olympia twice.
yeah,
Great story.
yeah. I mean, I meet so many competitors, and I'm so oblivious. Like,
Yeah.
it's so funny. I always talk to Marlon about this too, where I'm like, oh, I was just talking to this guy, and he'll be like, no way. Or I'll talk to my other friends. They're like, you were with them? Like, I remember I was with you at the Republic of Texas last year.
Yes,
And I'm with all these guys. I had no idea who they were.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
all the friends and stuff were there like, hey, did you talk to them? I'm like, I don't even know who that
they
is.
are,
Like,
yeah.
I was with Dan Solomon for like 30 minutes. No idea. I just thought, here's Dan. And
Thank God you're nice to everyone, right?
yeah, I'm like, great
It's
guy.
just like me at the beginning,
Yeah.
of my journey. I was just nice to everyone. Like, oh, you know who that is? I'm like, no. There is the President Emmanuel
Yeah.
himself. I'm like, oh.
I was-
like, thank God I was super nice to him.
Yeah, I was with JM, and we were just talking about Batman.
Yeah.
And I didn't know who he was. I was just
Yeah.
like, he's got a camera. We're just talking about, it was me and Kyle Wurzel. And we were just talking about Batman, and then he left, and Kyle's like, you know who that was, right? I was like, no, but he loves Batman.
Cool guy, though.
Really cool guy.
He's the guy that loves Batman. No, he's the son of the president.
Yeah,
you
is
know?
Batman.
Yeah. You know, Kyle's moving back.
Yeah.
And so, but no, I do appreciate you coming on. We'll definitely have to run it back here in the future.
Yes,
and, I look
I'll
forward
be
to
glad
seeing
to come back.
what you, I look forward to seeing what you do. So, on that note, Marlon, you know what to do.
Out of here.